Welcome students. I hope you are doing well at home and enjoying learning at home. I'm happy to tell you that with this video we will be finished with this chapter. Only two topics are left. So let us continue with the chapter 1, variation in psychological attributes. So today we will be covering two topics, aptitude and interest. Then we will be moving towards creativity and intelligence. So students, please read NCERT textbook again and again to understand the topics thoroughly, and after that watch the video again and again to understand the concepts. So let us start. So today's first topic is aptitude. So aptitude means specific ability in a particular field of activity. That means person's potentiality in a specific field of activity. And as the intelligence, as the people vary in their intelligence level, in the same way they also vary in terms of their aptitude. For example, you may have observed in your classroom that there are certain areas in which some intelligent students do not do well. When you have a problem in mathematics, you turn to, let's say, one child Aman for help, and with similar difficulties in literature, you may consult Avinash. So you may request Shabnam to sing for your annual function, and you may turn to John when facing a problem with your bike. So these specific skills and abilities are called aptitude. So with proper training, these abilities can be considerably enhanced. So this is the best example given in your book regarding aptitude. Now, let us try to understand what is the relationship between intelligence and aptitude. As discussed previously, intelligence refers to the general set of mental abilities, that is G factor. So, on the basis of these abilities or overall abilities, child's performance in the future can be predicted. So, aptitude, on the other hand, is a person's ability, acquired or innate, to learn or develop knowledge of a skill in some specific area. It refers to the capacity or ability to acquire skill or knowledge in a particular area only. So on the basis of such abilities, on the basis of these specific abilities, the future performance of a child can be predicted. But the common thing between aptitude test and intelligence tests are both are future oriented. That means on the basis of the results of both the tests, we can predict the future performance of an individual. And second, both are psychometric tests. So what are psychometric tests? Psychometric tests are designed to measure candidates' suitability for a role based on required personality characteristics and aptitude. Now today, big companies or various prestigious job select candidates or conducts various aptitude tests to select their candidates. Now, aptitude test. So students, the primary purpose of an aptitude test is to predict what a person can learn. So aptitude test may be grouped into conveniently may be grouped into two categories. First is multiple aptitude test and second is special aptitude test. So multiple test, there is another name for multiple aptitude test is generalized aptitude test, and for special aptitude test another name is independent aptitude test. So now what are multiple aptitude tests? Multiple aptitude tests are those which intend to measure several aptitudes, each by an independent subtest. Hence, multiple aptitude tests are not tests but rather batteries of tests. Now you must be very well aware about batteries of tests. Batteries means in a test when there are subsets or when there are number or series of tests are present, then it is called batteries of tests. So special aptitude tests are those which intend to measure only one aptitude. So among the earliest special aptitude test was a mechanical aptitude test. So there are a number of tests given below: differential aptitude test, the general aptitude test battery, the armed services vocational aptitude batteries are the example of multiple aptitude test, and clerical aptitude, mechanical aptitude, so numerical aptitude, typing aptitude are independent aptitude tests. So our next topic is aptitude and interest. Here we will try to understand what is the relationship between aptitude and interest. So now, what is an interest? It is a preference for a particular activity or for engaging in a particular activity. So a person may be interested in a particular job or activity, may not have the aptitude for it. Similarly, a person may have the potentiality for performing a particular activity or for performing a job, but may not be interested in doing that. So in both cases, the outcomes will not be satisfactory. So the individual will have high aptitude and interest in a particular area is more likely to be successful in the same. So here you can try to understand by the diagram here. Aptitude plus, if you are having both aptitude plus interest in a particular activity, so it will give you job satisfaction, you will excel in that particular field, and your state of mind will be happy. So students, we will try to understand the differential aptitude test, which is an example of multiple aptitude test in details, because you need to perform this practical, or you will perform this practical in psychology, because it is also one of our practical. So now, what is a differential aptitude test? It is one of the most common multiple aptitude tests, first published in 1947. The battery has undergone several revisions and re-standardization, and presently it is available in its fifth edition, done in 1992. So the battery has been developed by Bemit, Seashore and Westman and comprises 8 subtests. So the name of the subtests are verbal reasoning, numerical reasoning, abstract reasoning, mechanical reasoning, clerical, speed and accuracy, space relations, spelling and language usage. So the battery is mainly meant for educational and vocational counseling of students from grade 8 to 12. So it roughly takes about 3 hours to administer. The DAT has also been adopted by Indian psychologists to suit local requirements. So the one example can be the J.M. Ojha has developed an Indian adaptation of DAT. So our next topic is creativity and intelligence. Suppose you were asked to name people high in creativity. Who would be on your list? When faced with question, many people name such famous figures such as Albert Einstein, Leonardo da Vinci, Thomas Edison, Sigmund Freud. So what do these individuals have in common? All were responsible for producing something, theory, inventions, so viewed by other people as unexpected and new. So more formally, psychologists generally defined creativity as involving the ability to produce work that is both novel. So what is the meaning of novel? Means novel means original and unexpected, and appropriate. Appropriate means it works, it is useful, or meets task constraints. So by creativity, people perceive the world in unique ways and organize events in an unusual manner, not in a boring manner, not in the same manner, but in a surprising manner. So it brings dignity and meaning to their lives. So let us take an example of two students in a class. One is regarded by her teacher as an excellent student. She does her work on time, scores the highest grades in her class, listens to the instruction with care, grasps quickly, reproduces accurately, what she rarely comes out with ideas which are her own. So Rita is another student. She is just average in her studies and has not achieved high grades consistently. So she prefers to learn on her own. She improvises new ways of helping her mother at home and comes with new ways of doing her work and assignments. So the former is considered to be more intelligent and the latter as more creative. So there's a person who has the ability to learn faster and reproduce accurately may be considered intelligent more than the a creative, unless he or she devises new ways of learning and doing. Now we will try to understand what is the relationship between intelligence and creativity. So both of them are functions of the brain that processes information to determine a solution or answer to a problem. So that means intelligence can be measured by the intelligence quotient or IQ. So creativity on the other hand is not so easy to measure. The general belief is that people with high IQs are generally more creative and people who are highly creative have high IQs. But this is not necessarily true. Although scientists have found a correlation between those individuals with an IQ of 120 or more having a higher level of creativity, the relationship between intelligence and creativity is more of an overlap of skills or abilities instead of a dependence on one another. For example, if someone uses creativity to solve a problem, if they're faced with the same problem in the future, intelligence might be used because the brain has already learned how to solve the problem. That is creativity intelligence you have read in Sternberg's uh, triarchic theory. So, conversely, in order to solve a problem creatively, a person's level of intelligence gives them their starting point. That means, so the lower the level of intelligence, the more difficult it will be to solve the problem creatively. So in terms of a relationship, creativity and intelligence would have to define their social media relationship status as complicated. Although highly creative people tend to be above average in intelligence, a higher IQ does not predict creativity. Tarman in 1920s found that a person with high IQ were not necessarily creative. At the same time, creative ideas could come from the person who did not have a high or a very high IQ. So, researchers have also found that both high and low level of creativity can be found in highly intelligent children and also children of average intelligence. The same person thus can be creative as well as intelligent, but it is not necessary that intelligent ones in the conventional sense must be creative. So intelligence by itself does not ensure creativity. That means for creativity, a basic level of intelligence is required. Psychologists point out that intelligence tests do not measure creativity. Because a general feature of the creativity test is that they are open-ended. They permit the person to think of different answers to the question. So they help the individual to go in a different direction. There are no specified answer to a question or problems in a creativity test. So therefore, there is a freedom to use one's imagination and expresses it in its original ways. So that means creativity test involves divergent thinking and assesses such abilities as ability to produce a variety of ideas. That means ideas uh, that are novel. So on the contrary, intelligence tests which mostly involve convergent thinking. So that means the person has to think of the right solution to the problem and focuses is on assessing abilities such as memory, logical thinking, reasoning, accuracy, and clear thinking. So but creativity is not relevant to convergent thinking because you don't have to be creative to know the answer to this problem in intelligence test. In contrast, divergent thinking is the type of thinking we do when solving an abstract or new problem that has many possible answers, solutions, or outcomes.